Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? We are here at U.S. Nationals with your second place runner-up, Marcus Cantarsi. We're here to show you guys the Crimson deck that we played. I played it, Marcus played it, and our teammate Marcel played it. Shout out to Marcel, who couldn't make it here tonight to join us for the deck profile, but want to make sure we give him a huge shout out because he did put a lot of testing and time into the deck. The leader really came from Marcus, who had been playing it for such a long time, so I wanted Marcus to just talk about his story with the leader real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been playing the leader for a year now. You know, since the first regionals after last year's Nats, moving on from Golden, I came across Crimson. I said it before in a previous deck profile. I think it's the best blue leader. But yeah, I kept going with it, changing it up many times throughout the months and metas that it came around with, and we settled on this build.
Yeah, one thing to note is that me and Marcus played very similar builds. We had one main deck difference, one card main deck difference, and two card side deck difference. Otherwise, our builds are exactly the same. Marcel played a fair amount of different stuff. He wanted to play like some more consistent ratios and not main deck as much tech. But yeah, I mean, after Marcus, got second place with the leader, he's been through so many builds, and I know the thing you love with the leader is that it's just all value, right? Like the leader essentially has 5 free 5k combos attached to it on top of like the untap one, the draw one. And now that Soul Striker has been errated into unplayability, this leader is just insane. So I guess let's just go right into the deck here. So the leader, for anyone who doesn't know, activate battle once per battle, but not once per turn. You can discard a sand and draw a card, and then take a life if needed. And that was pretty important for like hand control matchups. Awaken, we have 5 sands in the drop. And on the backside, this used to be Soul Striker Light, but now this leader is just better than Soul Striker in pretty much every way. So attack, draw, which is not once per turn, which is very important. Then the activate battle, if you can pitch X number of cards underneath it, and for everyone you pitch, he gains 2k, and then if you pitch 3 or more, you can untap an energy and draw a card. So that's where I was talking about the free 5k combos, because math in this deck is weird. 2k is basically 5k, and there are cards in the main deck that synergize with that. But Koos, for this effect, how much were you using it like offensively versus defensively?
This meta, I was using it offensively most of the time. I actually prefer to not use my leader effect as much as possible. Instead, use it all at one go to get free 10k power, untap energy, draw a card, and that was like my kill turn, going in for, big combo power.
Yep. All right, so into the main deck. So the one card difference, Marcus played the new Gohan Beast SCR, and I played, just real quick, the Kaioken Goku SCR. So that was our only difference. I didn't have the card, nor did I really want to pick it up. I like this SCR a lot, even though Cunning was a thing. But I would warp cards from my drop through Cunning, that was fine. But Marcus, talk about why you think this SCR is so broken.
I think it just does so much, especially with this leader. The SCR automatically burning an opponent's life, I think it's a really big deal. The fact that it comes out on your own turn 3 is also really important. So your opponent could be on their turn 2. So going first, you could absolutely steamroll people. Like I steamrolled Duvall in game 2, but he did get me best of 3s. So yeah, I think the SCR is extremely good. So much value built into it. 40k dual attack, basically leader swing.
Restand your leader, yeah, because the auto's not once per turn, yeah.
Right,
really
so
important.
you restand your leader, swing with the leader untaps one, draws one. Like, you just have so much to work with. And when you have so much to work with in Dragon Ball, that's when you're having a good time.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is nowadays, the way the game is with the ban lists and everything, we don't really see games end on 3. But this SCR makes that possible. Like, again, you saw in the final stream, that's really insane about this SCR. So yeah, I played a bit of a long game version, but Koos played the super fast kill. But all right, into the main deck, we have 4 Videls. So this is the only Crimson archetype card that we played. Basically, when it's under your leader, if you pitch it for its effect, you can combo with it as well. And that's so good nowadays because this is actually a super free Z energy. So, she has a permanent, she counts as a sand. She's also a one drop counter attack, which is also really, really good just for, again, stopping attacks. Now, another card, I want Marcus to talk about how he thought about this card, because I think he was the least believer in this card, but I think probably ended up pretty good for him. Kakarot, Bearer of Fate. We ended up playing 2. Marcel was on 4 for a while, but I'm not sure if, how low he dropped it in his deck. But Marcus, talk about your experience with this card.
Yeah, I think Marcel was, first of all, the pioneer of this card.
Yes,
he was
100%.
playing 4, and he was a big believer, saying this card is absolutely broken in Crimson. I was not a believer, and honestly, even leading up to Nats, I was thinking about completely cutting them. But I'm glad I kept them in. There were so many times I just want to tap 1 energy to start my turn with. And then the best part is Kakarots can pick up Videls, which are negates.
Yes,
so
super good.
You just never end on having negates in your hand. So in this meta where, Sin Shenron is swinging at you a bajillion times, you want to have negates in your hand, you have negates in your hand. So I really liked it.
Awesome. All right, now we'll go into some of the set 19 stuff because set 19 did introduce a lot of really good mono blue cards. We didn't play all of them, but we did play Piccolo the Infiltrator. Such incredible value. Basically a 2-drop 20k, either plays this pan straight from the deck, which is just a simple draw one. Also having Barrier, just like, it's so funny because this deck is basically a bunch of energy boosted Majin Boos, which is similar to what we played last year. And these ones all just happen to have Barrier, which is pretty funny. Cool thing you can do is like you can attack with this and like combo something or whatever, and then you can swing into this with another card, and that can put a sand in your drop to get Awaken with your leader. That's a pretty cool play you can do. But yeah, basically this like fetches a free Z energy from the deck or just gains Barrier for 2 turns, so it becomes really, really hard for your opponent to remove. And then we played 3 copies of Borgos Bardock's Crewmate. It's just another 1-drop Barrier Sand that draws a card. The upside is when you play against blue, it just has a really broken effect against blue. And the cool thing is, like, this might be the best deck, especially considering how much of it topped this Nationals. But there are so many silver bullets to blue. Like, that people played this against me. People played the Cunnings against me, which was stronger against my SCR than Marcus's. But yeah, Koos, talk about your experience with that. Like, the blue silver bullets hurt you much at all, or it didn't really affect you?
Yeah, they do hurt me when they play it on me. It's kind of a priority to get rid of them. But at the same time, playing this card was just amazing, especially in all the blue matchups I played. It feels really good when you have Borgos on the board and knowing your opponent can't Dimension Magic, or if they do and they untap energy, they're going to lose a life and an energy. And in fact, I did get like a couple people, they would do the effect, they'll forget about it. Or sometimes they will intentionally do it too because they're just so desperate, right?
Or
they just absolutely have to do it. So it's a really good, hard punishing card. Barrier sticks on the board all the time.
Excellent. Let's move this pile out of the way, make room for some new stuff. All right, we got 1 copy of the Go Hunter. I think a lot of people are going to find this pretty insane. And honestly, I do wish we main decked more of them. The reason we ended up dropping it to 1 in the main deck, we do also side deck 1, is because in our testing, we played around it effectively, which made the card seem worse. But I guess one thing you got to realize is like having a big team like ours is really awesome because we get to test with some of the best players in the world. But at the same time, we play so optimally. This is sounding really cocky. I don't mean to sound this cocky, but like this card felt worse because we all played around it. But this would have caught a lot of people off guard if I had more in my main deck.
I actually kind of wish I had 2 as well.
Yeah.
More so than the pay 1 for the Z energy effect, the activate battle to bring in a 20k triple attacker that bottom decks a card. So sometimes your opponent will play their SCR on you, and that's like their big turn. Well, you could send Zubin, play this guy, kill their SCR, and, get away with it. So I do wish I played 2.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, Joey is 100% correct. It's very easy to play around. When I play Marquis Stovall, they play Piccolo, they just call Barrier because they know this card exists.
Yeah, this would have been so good for me against the Gogeta players I faced. But still, did pretty well. I should also mention, too, I got top 32. Marcus got 2nd place. Marcel got top 16, so that's worth mentioning. All right, we have 4 Vegeta super combos, best super combo in this deck. Actually, I don't know about that now because Duvall then played Zeno, and that was kind of interesting. What do you think about that versus this?
2-2 split.
So there is some key differences between the philosophy and the deck approach with the SCR choices. For me, this was 100% the right super combo. But if you're playing Divinity and maybe playing a longer game, and you have like a little bit of a vulnerability early game, Zeno might be the better super combo, so 2-2 split is good. But I still like 4. I love drawing cards.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you're build 100% because you're just trying to do as much damage as possible. This, I should also mention too, this deck was really built to beat red. That's how we went about it. I do think that Duvall and them and the super players guys, they put a lot more into the mirror match. We didn't expect to play any mirror matches. We didn't know that other people were playing this leader. We were definitely caught off guard by that. So yeah, we built this heavily to beat red, which ended up working out. I played against 7 red decks out of my nine rounds. 2 Unbreakable, just more combo power. It's a sand you can pitch for your unawakened side to get awakened.
Funny note, I think every other Crimson might be playing 4 Unbreakable, and we actually went down to 2. It sounds crazy because it's so synergistic with the leader, but sometimes you just have too many 1 for 10k combos in your hand, and we expected a lot of Gogeta, and Unbreakable is not as great against Gogeta when they slam Gogeta 8 on you.
True, yeah. I think the problem too is like most of the time Realm of the Gods Beer is just a better card. Like this is a sand, which is great for the deck, but Beerus being able to get rid of the 2 drops is really good. Then we have 4 God Sealing. Again, another sand you can pitch, but that pairs with our 3 Boo Unisons. So, yeah, Boo Unison is just an insane wall for decks to get around. Like, you play a Boo Unison, it's like you have 4 more life because your opponent's going to dedicate 4 damage into this card. Yeah, they do it. They get rid of it. It sucks, but I mean they have to get rid of it. Otherwise, their turn is super ineffective. Like SCRs can barely play around this thing. Yeah, it's super good. Did you wish to play the fourth one? I know I asked you about that earlier on in testing.
Honestly, no, I didn't because once again, I try to go the aggro route in my
Yeah,
matchups.
right.
But matchup wise, yes, sometimes you want a lot of them. Slamming it on 4 going first just feels so good. Card should be at 1 or banned, to be honest.
Yeah, this card needs to go. It's way too annoying. All right. 2 Golden Avengers, just stopping counters, helping you go in. I like this card a lot with Divinity because obviously you can play this and immediately untap all your energy, and this is live. But you can also do a similar thing with Gohan because you can untap energy if you need to. But again, Gohan you're typically playing earlier, so you won't have the 5 energy for Golden Avenger, but it's still there. It's still a Saiyan. It still helps in your long grindy games, so it's all good. Then we have 2 Smoke Dragons. So this is the tech that we wanted to main. You can definitely just sideboard it. It's not super necessary in all matchups, but at the worst case scenario, it's a 2 energy draw 2 or barrier removal, so it's just super flexible. I think with this card kind of being the selling point of set 19, it was very interesting to see how it performed in Nats. Marcus, what did you think about this card throughout your tournament?
I love that card. I love having it in my hand every single game, no matter who I play against. If I'm playing as Red Sin, I'm killing their Unison. If I'm playing as Gamma, killing their Unison. If I'm playing as Yellow, killing Slug. Blue, killing the barrier guys. Like, it's just so versatile. At worst, I'm drawing 2 when I play it.
Yep.
It does everything you need for 2 energy. It's just amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah, this might be a main deck in like mid-range decks going forward, just because of how good it is. Like, there's no downside to playing it. Like, it's not even like if you don't play against a Unison-based deck, it's dead card. So I think a lot of mid-range decks should main deck that going forward.
Real quick, notable difference. Marcel did not play Black Smoke.
I think he ended up putting it into his main deck before the tournament. For a long time, he did not want to main deck it, but I think he squeaked it into his main before the tournament started. For Bean, okay, big errata here. This is what we're talking about. This card cannot be used offensively anymore, but this is like the cornerstone of the deck defensively because, like you saw, we have 2 Unbreakables in the deck. We have 3 copies of Beerus Destroys, and we also have 2 copies of UI Goku. So basically, what you would do every turn defensively is typically you're going to use a Bean if your opponent has multiple 15Ks because you just chump block all the 15Ks, and then you have your energy available for Beerus and UI, the rest of their attacks. One really important thing to note in how we played this deck, we never had more than 1 energy open defensively on against red matchups. We were very disciplined in that. We would Bean, and if we could, we would immediately use a Beerus or we would immediately use a Goku. If we demagicked, we would only untap to 1 energy open. We were playing around Burly Crown heavily. For that reason, we did not play Dirty Burst in the deck, not in the main or the side deck. If they play the 8-drop, cool, whatever. We'll stockpile our super combos. We'll combo with 10Ks. Not a big deal. The 8-drop is not very scary for this deck. It's more so their little guy spam, which is what we're really prepared for with all this stuff. So, yeah, and Marcus was huge on the UIs, which was a great addition. They're so good offensively, defensively. How'd you feel these ratios, Marcus?
I think it was actually perfect. I wish I could play a little bit more, but overall, it was really good. I didn't get crowned a single time the whole entire tournament.
Same.
It felt really good.
Yeah, playing around it was super key. Again, like the other Crimson players, I think play a little bit differently. They probably, would Dirty Burst when their opponent crowned, or maybe they would play with 1 open depending on the situation. But I think they're playing a little bit of a longer game version of the deck. And then we have 3 copies of D-Magic. Only 3 because we are a very combo-centric deck. We side the 4th for, Sin matchups, Gogeta matchups. But you don't need it against Gamma, which I didn't play against single Gamma, surprisingly. But I definitely expect it to be a pretty popular deck in the room. But yeah, 4th in the side for when you need it. Here's a pretty cool tech. 2 Dirty Bursts in the main.
Dirty Burst?
Not Dirty Burst. Desperate Measures. Sorry, Desperate Measures. This was for a few things. This is for Gamma to counter play the Floodgate so that we can continue our turn and keep attacking. This is also for Beerus Ramp, which one of our friends was testing pretty heavily. Shout out to Dalen. So this is really good against Beerus Ramp because you can counterplay the Whis and the Z deck. It's also decent against Android 16. You can counterplay their 2-drop Ramp. And this was a kind of a last-minute change to the main board. How'd you feel about it today, Marcus?
I liked it. I thought it was a really good pick to have in the main board. I did ended up siding it out a lot.
Me too,
because
yeah.
based on matchups. But it was just one of those things you want in your main board. You want game 1 because I personally feel like Gamma's a tough matchup. This stops their floodgates. Stops riposte. Just any little thing that might be a little nuisance to you, it gets rid of it.
I think Gamma's pretty tough without this card in the main board. So this gives you a good shot of beating Gamma in game 1, which when it's blue versus blue, like you might only play game 1. All right, then we have the last of the main deck. We have 2 Dark Broly's, pitchable Sand, Broken Overwhelm, obviously. This deck generates a drop pretty effectively, so you can actually play 2 per game, and then the 1 Champa just for finishing stuff off. All right, sideboard. So this is the card that Marcus really wanted to side, and it made sense with his strategy. I did not side this card. So we have 2 copies of Vegeta Savior of the Future. So it's a 1-drop, double strike, very simple. But if you guys, again, watched Marcus's stream game, he was able to kill turn 3 because he set up his opponent early with big damage from this. And then by turn 3, he was at, I believe, 4 life. Slam the SCR, attack, play more things, attack. So, yeah, Marcus, you said you brought this in quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Against blue decks, they could play defensive against you, and I want to drop my opponent down to 4 life as fast as possible, so I could SCR them turn 3, turn 4, and really just go in and catch them off guard. So playing this on turn 1, swinging with it, double strike damage, and then when your opponent swings into that, it's still a Saiyan in your drop area, so it still helps out. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I didn't side it because my strategy is a bit longer game because I was playing a different SCR, but super good if you're going to play Gohan Beast. Then we have 1 Begrudging Ally. So I sided 2 of these. That's one of my slot differences between this Vegeta. But yeah, I wanted it because of the Gamma matchup. So Desperate Measures is nice, but the problem is putting the Floodgate back in their hand becomes problematic if the game gets dragged out because they're going to have the Floodgate for several more turns. So having this, getting rid of the Floodgate permanently, I think really, really good. It's also a good card against the new Gohan Floodgate, the one that combos into play, and then they pay 1 for the superhero decks. Then you have to bottom deck battle cards to swing with your battle cards. So this answers that. Again, I didn't play against Gamma, so I didn't bring this in that much. But how was the 1 Begrudging for you, Marcus?
I personally couldn't use it very well, so I'm not too sold on it still, but I think it's still good overall.
Yeah, I think it covers a lot of things, a lot of random things. All right, 1 Deborah. This seems pretty troll, but we wanted to play more. We just couldn't find the room. We didn't really think we would play against hand control, to be honest. I ended up playing against Jerry Lopez Android 16 in top 32, which this card was pretty solid. But yeah, hand control, not super realist format. I mean, Magenta's a thing, sort of. Yeah, but otherwise, not really. 2 Koitsukai. Marcus was really big on this one. Marcel actually hated this card, but Marcus, talk about this card in your tournament experience.
Yeah, I did side it in against Yellow Trunks came out one time. Overall, I didn't play against decks that really were impacted by Koitsukai, but again, against Gamma, I think it's really good because you stop them from playing their Floodgate, you stop them from playing their combo Gohan, and if they do, they just get punished hard. So I personally like it. It's easy to just pay 1 energy, start of your turn, do the effect, make your swing.
Right, yeah, untap the leader, absolutely.
I thought it was nice.
2 Dende. This is... we actually kind of determined this wasn't great against Gamma because you're spending a whole turn to kill one of their energy, but you're not really applying pressure to them. But this would come up for sure against like Reboot Goku, Beerus Ramp. It was actually solid for me against Android 16. Did you ever bring this in?
Yeah, I did. And I did actually resolve an effect against Android 16. I think Reboot Goku and Beerus Ramp are kind of tough to beat. So yeah, I wanted to Dende just in case I run into them.
Yeah, super solid. It's cool with this leader too because on your Awaken turn, it kind of only costs 1 to pop their energy. All right, so some ratio stuff. So we had the 4th Realm of the Gods Beerus for super aggressive decks. Like I brought this in all the time because I played against so much red. The 2nd Champa, this was good for killing blue unisons, but also just good for blue decks to deal multiple damage. We had the 2nd Realm of the Gohan rare, Power Reclaimed. Just for situations where you needed it. Again, like I kind of wish it was in my main deck because people didn't play around it as much as I thought they would. But yeah, super good. 3rd UI for pushing damage and also defending. So I brought this in a lot against Sin. The 4th E-Magic for your red aggro decks. The 3rd Smoke for your unison-based decks or matchups where you need barrier removal. And the one that I really, really like, shout out to my teammate Mike, who kind of talked about this a lot, God Strike Beerus. So this was a huge, huge side deck card against Red Sin because, especially the red-yellow build, they would attack with their triple striker. You would D-Magic, maybe you would Sparking, maybe you would pay the energy, whatever, and they would counter, right? So now they've committed 2 more energy and pitched 2 cards, and they're going to dump their whole hand to kill you because they think they're safe on it, especially when they give the Omega Shenron barrier, and then you God Strike, take 1 damage, and then it's game over. It's GG. But all right, real quick, the Z deck, because now that's a thing in this game. I don't think I've done a live deck profile of the Z deck yet. We have 2 Cell Awakening of the Created. Ridiculous Blue Z battle card. Just clear the board. Dual attack critical. Ridiculous card. New set 19 card, Beerus Airy Annihilator. Another insane card. I mean, the way this deck, or at least the way we built the deck, is like you have your Z deck for your different situations. So Cell is the wide board clear, and then Beerus deals with your barrier threats. and you just play whichever one the situation calls for. That's basically what you do. One copy of Goku Stronger Together. You said you didn't cast this much, right, Marcus?
Not at all. All weekend I did not play it once.
Interesting. Yeah, I casted it like a couple times. Some people did play around it. I guess that was one of the higher end set 19 cards that people were worried about. But yeah, I think it's just better to have it. Be safe than sorry. We have one SSB Vegito Godly Spirit. These last two cards we weren't really sure about playing. We also have one Goku Awaken Onslaught. We weren't sure about these ones. I think Vegito is really good when it comes up, but it's pretty seldom. But I wouldn't cut this. I like this card a lot. And then this one was pretty iffy. It was either this or like Surmounting Vegeta, because they're both 1-drops that you can play. And sometimes you just got to spend that energy to untap with your leader. But I actually ended up liking this card a lot. I casted it a couple times, and getting a D-Magic or a now newly errated Senzu Bean out of your hand to draw a new card and swing for 15 crit, that felt pretty good. So how'd you feel overall about the Z deck, Marcus?
Yeah, I liked it. There were some games I did miss Surmounting, that's for sure. But I actually like the Awaken Onslaught a lot. Yeah, I played it in my top 32 match against, I think, Isaiah Herring, where I was all out of attacks and he had like no cards left in his hand. And yeah, I just paid 1 energy to get a 15k attack and won me the game.
Awesome, man. So overall, that's deck profile. Super huge congratulations, man. You know how proud we are of you, man.
You too.
Thank you. So yeah, any final words you want to say about your nationals experience?
No, I had a great weekend. Shout out to PPG hosting a great event.
Shout out to PPG, my new team. Let's go.
Shout out to our sponsors, Mystic TCG, DBS Deck Planet, for all they do. Shout out to the team itself for putting in the mad hours, grinding all together on Discord every day, playing games.
This whole week, actually, the boot camp.
Especially the boot camp week.
Yeah, we were here in Orlando for a week, and it was awesome. It was so much fun.
2 years in a row, Boot Camp House has multiple people in the top.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll be posting more nationals content over the next few days, and I'll see you then.